What? Understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest. That's why.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome with Midnight Comics and rather the Indie Breakdown Show. We break down your favorite indie comic book characters, power, stats, and abilities, and get them ready for an indie versus matchup, which of course is what we do every Saturday here on the channel. Camera's a little close today, so forgive me for that. However, yes, we're back. I bet you guys weren't expecting to see me. That's okay. We're gonna have some slight changes in here. They got some super breakdown available today. However, we do want you to definitely check this stuff out on Sunday. Well, later this evening, because of course they do have their show over there as well with the Super Breakdown. So please, please, please check them out. But anyway, to what we're here for, ladies and gentlemen, we do have three matchups this evening, and some of them may be rather short. We won't be live too terribly long because it is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers and stuff out there. Keep creating, guys. And I mean comics, but regardless, here we go. So what we do have three matches today, and I'm going to go ahead and bring them up. As you see, I'm in a little bit different location at the moment. But we do have three matches, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at specifically, well, an order of engagement on them because uh, we're going to save the best for last here. We have another Omnicomics versus Idolverse. We're going to save that one for last. That one got the most interaction, so that's going to be Braven versus Khallid. I think I said that correctly. So what we're going to do, as we always do, we're going to go and reference the database. If you guys aren't familiar, head on over to indiebreakdown.com and please peruse the database. We're going to be diving in and only pulling the information from those cards, from those there. So we have our first matchup. I'm going to bring up everything here. Usually when I'm live, I usually have my double screen and stuff set up. However, I am not by that device or computer there. So, excuse me, give me just a second. What I want to be able to do is bring up the match proper on here. But the first match that we're going to be talking about is actually going to be Warstar versus Earthling. And so actually, I don't even need to bring up the match. There's only really three comments on there. And again, we'll just kind of read those things out um, as they come along. So if you guys want to head on over there with me, of course, we're going to be on Reckoning. That's what we're starting first, is Reckoning. So that's again, you're gonna be looking for Warstar and Earthling. Another way you guys can bring this up for those that are unfamiliar with how to navigate the database, you could also just go to the website, do indiebreakdown.com/hashtag in the character you're looking for. So, sake of conversation, in this instance, you would be looking for you would be typing in indiebreakdown.com/hashtag Warstar. And then, of course, again, if you're trying to follow along, you also want to open another tab and do the same with Earthling, and it'll bring up their cards specifically. Okay. And so, what I'm going to go ahead and do really quick is I'm going to make sure that I have these items up for you guys. And the database will be opening back up soon. What we'll be doing is finally doing what this group is supposed to do, right? We're going to be redefining, um, we're going to be redefining power scaling. So there will be some slight changes, but we're trying to make it in such a way that it does not interfere with what we already have going on. So it's not too much of a change. But again, how we define these things are going to be what changes. So again, everybody that's here, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are about to go ahead and get started with our first matchup. Again, we're going to be discussing Warstar versus Earthling. So let me share my screen. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. So first up, we are going to be discussing Warstar. Can y'all see that? Y'all can't see it yet. Here we go. So here we go. Warstar by Eminent Comics. Okay. So we'll stare at the character here for a second. Where is he on the tier? So again, if you're new here, essentially we have tiers, and then we dive into the power stats, right? And so with that being said, we see that he's got three dots there. They're brown. What does that mean, right? So he is at tectonic level, aka tier 6. With three dots, that means he's the 6C. So he's island levels of destruction. Okay, so he's pretty up there, right? Again, that's dang near halfway through uh, uh, the power scaling list, if you would. So nothing to slouch out there, but pretty cool design, what have you. Able to harness the ability to absorb sound waves. All right. So now that we have that little kind of buffer out of the way there, let's actually dive into the stats before we dive into the powers proper. Okay. So, and then I proceeded to scroll down to go too far. All right. So as you guys can see, strength is sitting at a 4. So, hold on. Okay. Bear with me here. Try to navigate. I usually have my double screens up. All right. So, and then while I'm kind of going through this, put your thoughts down below and let me know who you guys think would win this between Warstar and Earthling based on what you guys see, based on the initial image, what have you, whatever the case may be. Let's dive in and talk about it. So, he's sitting at a 4, and at a 4, he actually is able to lift up to 800, well, not up to 800 pounds and up to 25 tons. His He's sitting at a 3 in regards to intelligence, so he's learned, right? Not genius level or anything like that. A 5 on speed, so supersonic, so Mach 2 orbital velocity. Okay, and then on durability, he's sitting at a 6, so he's able to withstand poisons, extreme temperatures, and concussive attacks. Which, again, if you guys look at that, that also includes like bulletproof. He has some regenerative ability, so he's hard to permanently injure and stuff. And again, these things are going to be changing here soon, but we're going to try to find something somewhat comparable for you guys to be able to work with and what have you. So you will have an opportunity if you already have characters in there. What we're gonna do, it might be a series of videos where we come on and we kind of power scale where we think the character is based on what's been explained and based on how we redefine it here. You know, get the blessing of the creator and all that other good stuff. Make sure that we're all on the same page and make those adjustments live. I think that'd be pretty cool. And once we get through that, the plan is to reopen the database so anybody else that is interested or new that wants to be a part of it has the opportunity to do so. So definitely pull through for that. So to pick up where we left off, um, oh goodness, to pick up where we left off really quick. Where is his? We did speed, we did durability. We're on agility now. So he sits at a 6. So he's actually at sub relativistic. Um, what's going on, Joe? What's going on? So we're doing our indie breakdown situation, um, breaking down the characters and stuff. I think I told you, but we have a database for it now and everything at indiebreakdown.com. And so now we are discussing several characters who have been matched up right now. So right now we're talking about Warstar. Warstar is going to be duking it out against a character called Earthling. So more on him in a second, or more on him right now, rather. So we talked about durability. The next thing was agility that we just brought up. So he's sub-relativistic, so he's able to dodge light speed attacks. Next up, we have energy projection. He sits at a 5, so he has long range and duration, single energy. So pretty decent with a single form of energy projection there. And then last but not least, his fighting ability, very important here, is a 6. So he's a master of several forms of combat. So the stats out of the way. Let's go ahead and take a look at the powers. There's no equipment or anything like that. If you guys want to see the character, he does appear in the entities. Again, this is by Prince Hartsfield or Prince Jackson, as you'll see him here in the group. And then we have, of course, his IG down below, eminent comments underscore. So definitely check him out there. Now the powers, sound disruption, conversion, and absorption. His heightened senses and increased strength based on how much sound is absorbed. So one of the things, Prince Jackson, if you're here, we definitely would like to know to what extent, right? I'm sure he can't infinitely absorb sound. So is there, well, let me not speak prematurely. Is there a limit to how much he can absorb? And how does that affect him as well? How is he going to kind of come into that battle while he potentially is on the way to have a discussion about that? Again, this character is at tectonic levels of power or destructive capability. So we'll see. Next up, we have, and I switch my view because next up we actually want, you know what? I'll just do it from that same screen. We're gonna pull up Earthling, and what I'm gonna do, yeah. Boom. All right. So here it is. We have Earthling now. Earthling is still in the same kind of tectonic situation, except he's a 6A. right? Whereas Warstar was a 6C, which was Island Level Destruction. Earthling sits at consonant levels of destruction. So definitely has more potential, but does he have what it takes on his individual stats? That's what we're going to discuss here in just a moment. So, good God Almighty. So, in comparison, right? Strength wise, we know Warstar was sitting at a 4. This guy's sitting at an 8. What does that mean? Again, refer to indiebreakdown.com. Head on over to the database. We're on the reckoning section right now discussing Warstar, discussing Earthling. So, with that being said, in 8, he can lift multi megatons. Ridiculous. Next up, we see he's sitting at a 5 in regards to intelligence. He is a genius versus War Stars learned. So already outmatching him in stats. We have speed. He's sitting at a 4, so he's actually slightly slower, moving at Mach 1, whereas War Star was able to move at a Mach 2 orbital velocity. And then we have 6 in regards to durability form, which ties them up. So again, able to withstand poisons, extreme temperatures, concussive attacks, bulletproof, the whole like that. And then we have energy projection, which is a 5 for him, so long range and duration single energy. They're at the same level in regards to that. Now, the big one, again, fighting ability, they are both masters of several forms of combat. But again, that intelligence and that strength is going to be a major problem for Warstar. So now that we have those out of the way, and again, now we start talking about age and stuff. This guy's 5,000 years old, right? He's got some time under his belt. Now we don't have an age, a specified age for Warstar, but based on what we've seen in the entities, but again, I don't think we got a specific thing there for him as well. He doesn't look to be an older character, but you never know when you start talking about the godlike characters and stuff like that. You truly never know when it comes to these characters. So anywho, let's talk about the equipment. He has an indestructible, there's a typo there, indestructible spear. He's got shield gauntlets and poison tendrils, which we know since both of them are able to withstand poison, this isn't really going to play a factor into the matchup. Now, both of them have a form of absorption, as we can see, because they actually have, well, Earthling has earth absorption. Okay, he's able to shapeshift, another typo there, shapeshift into any animal he has near instant regeneration. He teleport through the ground and is a master botanist. Based on, and again, there wasn't a lot of comments on the Facebook post proper. So unfortunately, we won't be able to really kind of get into the nitty gritty and see any kind of valid extra points. We can only base what is here on the cards, right? If they drop any feats and stuff like that in regards to their comics, right? Because if you're on the reckoning side, you have a book. And if you have a book, you can produce proof or those feats of what your characters can do. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have that. So, getting ready to scroll back down to that Facebook post just to make sure that nothing was missed because well, obviously we didn't do the show yesterday. So now that we opened it up and made a post yesterday to give an opportunity for them to have that extra time to make a post or defend their character. The only comments that we have on this so far is the Earthling with the win, and then that was George or Jorge Winner maybe. Says the Earthling with the win, and then Prince Jackson, buying for his character, he says War starts clearing house. And Tasha J said both interesting. I'd love to know who and why, because just looking at the stacks, it looks close, but knowing more about Warstar, I would lean that way. Now, obviously I did know a little bit more about Warstar as well. We didn't really see a lot of this character um, in the entities, right? So I can't really speak to any fighting or additional feats in there. If there are some, please drop them in the comments. Let me know all that other good stuff. But I'm gonna have to go with Earthling again. Not gonna belabor a point here, but between the genius level intellect and the strength, yes, they are both masters of several forms of combat. However, a strike from Warstar isn't gonna be as devastating as a strike from Earthling. It's only gonna take a couple to kind of put him down because again, he's maxed out on strength as it relates to how we have the cards broken down on here. He is as strong as it gets. In regards to how our tiering system is. So again, with Warstar being 2 stats behind him on that, there's no way. Now, one edge, right, in regards to speed, and I don't think did I say agility? They're both sub-relativistic, right? So they're both dodging light speed attacks or what have you. And when you talk about speed, and again, if we're talking about like movement speed, right? Running away, that type of situation. Warstar has the slight edge, being able to move at Mach 2, but again, Earthling is right behind him with that Mach 1. I don't think it's of as much as a difference that it needs to be for him to overcome. And again, between being learned versus a genius, two completely different classes there, right? So it's just too much of a gap, I think, between that strength and intelligence for anything else to really weigh in and give him that win. Just double check it again. They're even on durability. They're even on agility. They're even on energy projection. They're even on fighting ability. The only three are those top three on that row again is strength, intelligence, speed, with Warstar only being up in the speed department by one, whereas Earthling is up two, not only on strength, but also intelligence. And those, I think, are some of the more important stats. Like the energy projection, cool. If I can dodge the energy strikes, though, right, moving at light plus, light speed plus and all that other stuff, it's a whole nother situation, right? So, again, because we didn't have a lot going on in regards to this match, a lot happening in regards to real discussion I think in regards to this match. I would have loved to see more conversation in regards to that, but we can only work with what we got. And to keep this match up brief, I'm giving this matchup to the Earthling from Compass Creative Studios. So GG's on that one again. Even if we talk about the powers, right? Earth absorption versus sound absorption, again, they'll have a good matchup in regards to showcasing these abilities. He has near instant regeneration. So even if he does get hit, right? Even if I keep wanting to say Warstar so badly, even if Earthling gets hit by Warstar, he he has near instant regeneration. So, is there anything in Warstar's arsenal that's going to put him down for the count? Absolutely, for sure. I don't think so. And then you also have teleporting, which, again, one can argue that he'd be able to use the sound and stuff like that to stop him from teleporting while he's in the ground, what have you, kind of disrupt him and all this other stuff. But again, what attack does he have that's going to actually put him down? Who can say? But again, in regards to just raw power output, though, it's not going to take as many strikes for Earthling to put down Warstar as it is Warstar to put down Earthling. So even if we say battle of attrition, Yu Yu Hakusho style, you had Yusuke versus buddy with the mohawk. They're standing there, feet up against the knives, and they're just duking out and punching blow for blow. Again, Earthling's taking it. It just really depends on that personality. It depends on that fight style. Again, they're even on several categories. But if we just go based off of stat to stat, Earthling is winning the stat for stat play. If we know the personality, if we know the fight style a little better, we got to see some feats, see them in action, we'll be able to speak to it a little better. However, again, between the age, between the strength, between the intelligence, those factors alone, it's a wrap. And again, Earthling is coming in way better equipped than Warstar, unfortunately. So, unfortunately, again for Warstar, got to give this fight over to the Earthling. So, what we're going to go ahead and do now. And again, we kind of moved a little quick on that one, but again, if there's not a lot of conversation, there's not a lot we could pull from outside of the cards, because the cards, in case you guys don't know, are the information given to us by the creators. So outside from a couple of typos, I know last week when we were talking about Martyr versus who did Martyr go against? Oh my goodness, completely slipped my mind. It was a character from it was Dre's character, right? It was an Omnicomics character. Um, your boy's having a whole brain fart. However, I know in that matchup, on her card said that she was African American. She's not African American. She was going against Eric Majors. Um, so outside of small typos like that, this stuff is copy and pasted from the information provided to us by the creators. So we can only go based on that intel. So if you guys can elaborate more in the comments, elaborate more when you're talking about your characters, and spend all week. That's gonna take a caveat or aside a moment to say this. Throughout the week, of course, we have promo Sundays, right? Definitely talk about your characters all throughout the week. Sunday is the day of the promo. But like every day, you could tell us a little bit about the personality of the character. What's going on, Emeka? What's going on? What's going on? Take it a slight caveat. We just discussed Warstar versus Earthling, Earthling took the win just now. But taking a moment to remind those that are in matches, if you're ever in a match, or just in general throughout the week as a member of the group, share your characters. Talk about them, right? Talk about the personality. Talk about the things that they struggle with. Talk about how they utilize their powers. Talk about how they deal with people that are stronger. Like spend Monday through Saturday a lot giving us the opportunity to learn more about your character. So that when matches happen, right, it's like, oh, well, your character does X, Y, and Z, right? Yep, right? And so now you kind of create, some fans, some interest and stuff like that in these characters. We get to know them more than just the powers, right? Again, we have the cards so that it's easier to just discuss the matchups, easier to discuss, to the nitty gritty, right? It's a versus match. What can they do? We leave it up to you guys to come into the live and discuss more about what all they would be thinking in that moment and stuff like that. An opportunity for you to speak to the character. So just want to throw that out there because we didn't have a lot of information on this, and again, it probably would have went a long way in helping Warstar in this instance. But unfortunately for him again, Earthling is taking the cake right there in regards to that. So we're going to move right along. We have another matchup, another Reckoning matchup with two characters that one that I thought I knew a little better, but I did not, in fact. So this next matchup is actually going to be between Damon and the View. After we go over Damon and the View, what we're gonna do is take a quick commercial break, and then we're gonna hit on Braven versus Khallid, which is another Omnicomics versus Idolverse character, same as last week where we had Eric J. Majors versus Martyr, right? So these guys we getting it in. I think they're among the two creators that have some of the most characters in the database. Besides us, I think we're tied with Jay in regards to how many characters we have of ours in the database proper. So, but anyway, so we're gonna dive into this really quick before we dive into that commercial break. So let's dive in. So we got Damon, right? And so again, if anybody that doesn't know, when you look at the top, you see the dots, right? You see the colors in them, the color coded system that we had discussing the tiers. And so when you look at that, what does that mean? He's purple. It's like a pinkish color, right? And so he's superhuman, but he only has one dot. So that actually means he's sitting at superhuman. So that we have it broken down into three sub tiers, if you would. And he is capable of destroying a large room or apartment. So fairly strong, fairly strong. So he actually doesn't have any powers or equipment. So what we discuss over here in regards to the power stats, that's all we have to work with. So let's take a look. He's sitting at a four. A four? He's sitting at a four for strength. So he can lift 800 pounds to 25 tons. So really, he's about the same strength as Warstar. So that might have been a good kind of arm wrestle contest of abilities and power, right? Um, Next up, we have intelligence at a two. So average intellect, I didn't mean to say it like it's a disrespectful thing. That's what most of us are, right? Average intellect. We're not really, we're not genius level intellects. Not most of us do it, right? Then we have speed too. He seems like a normal guy, right? 25 to 30 miles per hour, which is impressive because think about it, when's the last time you ran full speed, right? What's next? We have durability. He's sitting at a three. Enhanced with efficient healing. Okay, I could definitely dig that. We have agility at a three, which is enhanced beyond human limits, can dodge thrown items and arrows. Okay. He has no energy projection whatsoever. And then four, is an experienced fighter. Hmm. Okay. Okay. This might actually be this honestly just off the dome, this might go to the view. This might go to the view. But we're gonna look. We're gonna look. We're gonna look. Let me pull him up. Again, he has no equipment, no powers. What you see is what you get in regards to his strength and stuff like that. So this character was created by Lord A. Mormon, and you can check his stuff out at that'swildman.com. So if you see the story 415 on there, definitely check it out. You can learn more about the characters, see the characters in action. I did learn a little bit about the characters through the Facebook post, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. But before we do, let's head back over and let us go ahead and discuss his opponent, the View. And again, if you guys go to indiebreakdown.com, you can either go to the database, go to Reckoning, and then find the characters, or as you see the matchups pop up in the Facebook group, what you can do is just type in indiebreakdown.com, hit that forward slash hashtag, and then the character's name that you're looking for, and it'll be right there for you to check out. So we have the View also in the superhuman range, and also with the one dot. So him, they both have the same level of destructive capability, able to destroy a large room or apartment. So definitely moving kind of decent there. So let's scroll right on down. He is an aspiring, so Chaz is an aspiring musical engineer, strives to manifest his destiny by doing his best to protect his home. All right. So the view. He is also sitting at a three. I said also, but I feel like David was a two, right? No, I apologize. I just tried his life. The most defining quality. His strength was a four. So he's slightly weaker. The view is slightly weaker than Damon, sitting at a three, and that three gets him what? I do personally have to go shifting back and forth between the two to make sure I don't misspeak here. But yeah, he can lift twice one's body weight. Okay, halfway decent. His intelligence is at a four, so he's definitely gifted. So he's smarter than Damon. His speed is a two, so they're about the same in regards to that. Durability is a three, so enhanced with efficient healing, so they're even there. Now, here's where we really see him get blown out of the water, right? His agility sits at a six, so he's sub-relativistic, so he's able to dodge light speed attacks. So that is going to be a problem for Damon. Um, yeah, the view doesn't hit as hard, but he's going to have a lot more of his sleeve, especially since we're going to get to energy projection here now. Energy projection is sitting at a three, so he has short range and duration single energy. In case you guys didn't know, he is able to manifest stuff, and we'll talk about that on the power section here in a second. But then fighting ability, he sits at a four. So that means he is an experienced fighter. So they're both experienced fighters, but the view has the edge in energy projection. He has the edge in agility. He has the edge in intelligence. Yeah, and that's it. The only thing that Damon really has over him is that strength, and just barely. They're even on everything else, or the view just takes the cake on it. But diving into what the view can do, item manifestation, and we did an interview with him, and we did a video, and again, um, plug for the show. Essentially, with the show, you have to have a book ready. We sit down, we interview, learn about the character, and then we break down the character, get you guys approval, make sure that we got all the characters' information correct. And then, of course, we do a whole creator class and stuff like that. I bring that up specifically because we did dive in a little deeper in regards to the powers in his item manifestation. Think Yao from My Hero Academia. As long as he has an understanding of what it is he's creating, the more effective and potent, if you would, that creation actually is. So, with that being said, he can really just pull anything that he needs at, in that moment as long as he understands it. So, with that out of manifestation, with him being smarter, with him being more agile, this is a quick done match, in my opinion, in regards to who wins between the View and Damon. So, let me see. I want to go over to the matchup proper. In the comments, there was something interesting. So, Specs, creator of the View, again, Specs Thompson down below. You can check out legacyoftheview.com for more. He said, "We lit. It's like Spider-Man versus the Rhino." Tasha J comment, "Ooh, I need to hear more." And I'm definitely leaning towards the View, which rightfully so, right? Um, Chuck Cox said that he thinks the View would win. Lee Noonan said that he thinks the View would win. Mr. Winner said that the View, but got this, but Damon looks like a powerhouse. But now here's what I really wanted to get to. Anthony Mormon, creator of Damon, stated this: Damon is one of the three personalities of Joan, or 415, born out of tragedy. Tragedy. While they do share a body, Damon is a consciousness separate from Joanne. Either it's Joanne or Joan. I'm gonna keep saying Joan. Damon would never let anything happen to Joan. Strength, he possesses enhanced strength, which we know, and can take as much as he gives and keep going. Damon is the tank of the group with normal intelligence. Weakness. There is a time limit for the use of Damon due to the size differences between Joan and Damon. The longer that, my family has returned. All right. But there's a time limit whether he can be there's a time limit for the use of Damon due to the size differences between Joanne or Joan and Damon. The longer that she stays as Damon, the more strain it puts on the body, and he will try to end the battle as quickly as possible. Now, I think to be completely fair in regards to that time limit, I do want to bring up Joan really quick just so that we can see what we have going on in regards to that. Ready? Okay, so hey yo, I didn't know this was taking place. Yeah, I tried to put the everyone tag on there, so apologies on that. But yeah, so we haven't gotten to y'all's match as of yet. We're saving that one for last because there was more interaction there. My family has returned. Hello guys. We're currently live right now on the Indie Breakdown. Say hello to the people. Hello. All right. Oh, thank you. All right. Y'all waiting on me? No, just waiting on mommy. Okay. Hey guys. All right. So we're gonna make this pretty quick, guys. So we're gonna finish up with Joan and Joan slash Damon, because again, there is a time limit for Joan to utilize Damon's abilities. Okay. So I think it's fair to bring her up. So she doesn't have any equipment either, but she does have shape shifting, which can be a problem. However, again, looking at the stats, there's really not much that she can do. So again, strength is at a one. That's not really going to do anything to the unit. Again, if she's exhausted, even if we're generous and say that it doesn't affect, like even if we say there's no strength, there's nothing really she's going to be able to do. She's going to be exhausted. Intelligence is normal. Speed is normal. Strength is can't even lift one body weight. Right. Durability is a two, so normal resistance. Uh, has no energy projection. Can't fight, and agility is peak human Olympic level. So, but if she's exhausted, she's down at the very least, if we're being generous, cut that in half. She's at normal. There's really nothing in the world she can do against that. So, even if we include Joan in this fight here, kind of cooked. Hey, Missy. So, it's game over, man. So, in regards to a fight between the View, Damon, and if it exceeds 10 minutes, Joan or Joanne. Unfortunately for him, that is a wrap. Um, so yeah, that's that. Game over, man. Game over. So yeah, congratulations to the View. Yeah, that's a no-brainer right there, I think, in regards to what we're seeing here. So what we're gonna do, as promised, because this next one is gonna be a bit of a doozy, and I want to make sure to do it justice. What we're gonna do we're gonna cut to a really quick commercial break. We're gonna showcase as we've seen in the last couple weeks. Oh, there goes Tasha J in the background. All right, but the Indie Prime Time. Essentially, it is a collection of really all of our favorite. Is this the first battle? This is the second battle. We have discussed Warstar and Earthling versus Warstar and Earthling. Those two have faced off against each other, and then the one that we just talked about, of course, Damon versus the View. So we did save y'all's match for last. There's a lot more back and forth, a lot more conversation that took place in that one. So we're gonna we save that the best for last, if you would. So what we're gonna go ahead and do again, we're gonna cut to that real quick commercial break, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started with that matchup between Braven and Khallid right after that. So stay tuned, don't go nowhere.
Welcome to the Super Breakdown Podcast, where cosmic tales unfold. Join Power Maximus, Lord Triage, and the Darth Legacy Jason M40 on a journey through heroic realms, where legends are born and destinies entwine. Delve into the cosmic currents, unraveling the mysteries of superheroes, villains, and champions. Embrace the cosmic energy that binds us all, and let your journey begin. This is the Super Breakdown Podcast. Enter the cosmic saga.
Yeah, well, understand I got a lot on my mind. A lot on my
With these stars, you won't get far. This is the way you play a game of life or death star. So far removed from the drama, we don't know this harm, but won't hesitate to shed a light like a Patronus charm. With mischief managed, troubles at a disadvantage. Must be something in the water, dip your toe because you know it's warm. Where can you find another show with such a fine cast? And if you try to box them in, they playing Minecraft. And basically the sum made up like you define math. This crew's the best and it figures like a line graph. A merry band like the words I do. Level-headed, you don't have to have absurd IQs. They know you can relate because they're nerds like you. With their help, you'll see the world from a blur's eye view. Yeah. You are now tuned in to Blur's Eye View. And without further ado, we out.
All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, also, again, check out all those amazing shows. I've switched positions, as you guys can see. Got out of the hot sun really quick and into the car because we were about to roll out for some Father's Day activities. But we are going to do this last match. Still, we got a good 30 minutes left at least before we get up out of here. So, here's the game plan. We are going to be talking about Braven from Idolverse versus Khallid Ibn Al Alid. I think I said that right. Forgive me if I did not. That's the matchup that we were talking about. But before we do that, of course, you guys have seen that commercial numerous times. It is a collection of some of our favorite podcasts that we've had the pleasure of being on, that we've been a part of, that we watch weekly. Most of them are on break right now. So obviously, the Indie Breakdown official show, if you would, that's on hiatus. That'll be back in the coming months. Roomful of Blurs is on break. Blur's Eye View is on a break. And Super Breakdown. Definitely check them out. I do believe they're going to be still going live tonight at 7 on their channel. But again, check out all of our amazing shows. Support it. Really, if I'm to speak freely, I do believe that each of these shows have the potential or are already kind of pillars in the community. And so please support them. A lot of awesome guests have been through each of those shows to support them as they continue following their passions so that indie can continue to have the visibility that it deserves. So, with all that being said, let's get down to the match proper. So, we're going to start with Braven first. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Braven on screen. Much like the characters that we just went over, he is in the superhuman category, right? He does have that three-tiered or 9C, if you would. So he's peak enhanced human, aka Olympic level. Okay, so pretty decent, pretty decent. I would like to see him versus the I was say I'd like to see him versus the View, but he may be a little bit more resourceful than the View. But anyway, that might be a match for a whole nother time because again, they're in two separate categories. We were talking about Reckoning before. They have books. We're on the Nexus side. They're not quite out yet. Anything can still change and be. But in regards to these cards and stuff like that, again, I still think that would be a pretty neat matchup. So let's go down the list, of course, as per normal. Again, we talked about the tier stat, and now we are going to talk about the power stats specifically. So, where is he sitting at currently? We see him at a 4. A 4 can lift 800 pounds to 25 tons, which is seeming to be the average today with a good bit of these characters that we've discussed in regards to strength, except for Earthling. Earthling was like, he was maxed all the way out, but I think everybody else has been sitting at this 4 stat all day right now. Next, we have intelligence, which is also a 4, so he's gifted. So he's up there, and that means he's one below Earthling as it relates to that. Because if I'm not mistaken, he was a genius level intellect. Next up, we have speed at a 3, so he's superhuman, and he can move up to 700 miles per hour, which is amazing, actually. Durability is sitting at a 5, so he's bulletproof. Agility is at a 3, so enhanced, so beyond human limits, can dodge thrown items and arrows. Okay, now the energy projection is at a 5. So he has long range and duration single energy capabilities. And then a 5, he is a master of a single form of combat. All right. So next up, he has equipment. He does not have powers at all. But what am I looking at here? Um, Okay, bet. So what we have here, he is working with a strike suit, which obviously would probably be the suit that we see him wearing right here, right? Oh, high-tech strike suit. I don't recall what that stands for, but when we start talking about the Facebook post proper, there'll probably be a little bit more not nuance, that's not the word I'm looking for, but a little bit more elaborated on in regards to that. He's got two SX pistols, bark blades, sniff sense trackers, and hound cruiser, which I just assume is the vehicle. In case that we didn't discuss a little while ago, this character is created by Mr. Unchained Unlimited, aka Nathan Rouse. Find him under that as well. He's also the creator of the one and only Jupiter Man. So what have you, that story. So definitely support that when you have the let me know in the comments at all. Anything of that nature, please let me know. Okay, so let me get this pulled up. Apologies. Of course, you know how it is. We don't get on social media and get distracted and end up going all over the place other than where you need to be. So going to the match, hold me accountable. All right. So what I'll do, we're gonna go over Khallid first, and then we're gonna jump down into the Facebook post, see if we can kind of shift through any further nuance, any further discussion as it relates to the characters, and go from there. So I may be pronouncing this incorrectly, but next up we have Khallid bin Al Walid. Al Walid, I think I said that right. This is actually based off of a real person. So look that character up, look him up in real life. Very formidable warrior. So definitely check more of that out and check out his feats in the real world, and let's cross-reference that. He is sitting at a 9A, so he's capable of destroying a large room or apartment. So he is 2 sub-tiers above Braven. So let's go ahead and dive in a little deeper. And again, I know I kind of glossed over it a little while ago, Dre, but earlier, those first 2 matches, since they didn't really get a lot of interaction, we knocked those out first because there wasn't a lot to go on besides the cards. We got straight to the point. We just went ahead and knocked them joints out. But this one, again, might take a little bit more time than those, but regardless, we're going to keep it pushing. So he is a villain, the undefeated commander and father to the weapons of fate. So let's go ahead and dive into what all he can do. We'll cross-reference the stats and see who's going to come out on top of this indie versus matchup. So here we go. And again, if the sound is off, if you guys have a hard time hearing me, if you hear the air coming through the vents and it's distracting, stuff like that, let me know so that we can make this a better viewing experience, if you would. So here we go. So let's dive into those power stats really quick. He's sitting at a 5. Do I have that right? He's sitting at a 5. Yes. All right. So he's sitting at a 5, which puts him at can lift between 25 to 75 tons. Okay. So pretty impressive. Again, not too much further than Braven, who was sitting at that 4 and able to lift 800 to 25 tons, which again, I say not a lot, but again, a ton is a lot, right? So they're lifting 70. He's lifting up to 75 tons, where maxed out Braven is doing 25. Let's see. We have intelligence. Here's where he blows him out of the water, right? Braven was at a 4, right? So gifted. This guy is sitting at an 8. He is literally omniscient. Battle over offering. You know what I'm saying? Battle over offering. But let's give a fair shot here. Like let's dive in a little deeper, right? Speed, they are both evened out at a 3. So superhuman can move up to 700 miles per hour. Durability, again, not really blows out of the water, but when you think about what I'm about to say, it's not really gonna be able to hold a candle to him. Khallid is at a 7. He is virtually indestructible. And again, and just to kind of refresh you guys' memory, of course, Braven was at a 5. So he was bulletproof. He had dense skin and was able to repel most weapons, which is good, which is impressive. But you have a guy that is stated to be virtually indestructible. And again, with the strength only being at a 4, we're going to dive a little bit more deeper into that. Next up, we have agility, right? Agility is sitting at an 8. So he's sitting at an 8. Reality breaking can exist in multiple places at once and move when time is frozen. There is no way, speed wise or agility wise, Braven is keeping up with that. Because looking at where he is, Braven is at an enhanced, okay, 3, which is enhanced beyond human limits and can dodge thrown items and arrows. Put that together with what was he at? A 3, 4 regular speed. Superhuman moves up to 700 miles per hour. Again, just going stat for stat and going based off of that, the big question is going to be how can Braven work around that when you're fighting against a character that can move at those kinds of speeds. Now, I'll take a pause again. I'll take a pause here at the agility and speed conversation because as much as I hate this feat that I'm about to describe, as much as I despise and loathe the feat that I'm about to describe, it happened. And I will pose it here. Catwoman. Now, you've heard me talk about this before. Catwoman. And I don't remember the issue. It's one of those more recent in the last 5 years or so issues, maybe even 10. She was able, while the Flashes, 3 of them, were running. I do believe it was Barry, Wally, and Wally, right? Um, she was able to hit them while they were running circles around it, her and Batman. She was able to perceive and hit them. And thinking about how fast Flash's perception is, I don't care. And honestly, again, going based on how they describe Flash's powers, going based on how fast he's able to react, think, maneuver, all of that other stuff, even catching him off guard to him should still be the slow motion, like, oh, wow, that's crazy that this happened. Like, you know what I mean? And Catwoman knocked all 3 of them on their behinds. So I pose the question, or I bring that feat up as an example that maybe, just maybe, depending on how the Facebook post conversation and comments went, right? We've seen it happen in mainstream. So it's not just a one and done, just throw it in the bag. There's no way it can happen. I hate that feat. It's dumb to me. Batman being able to predict that Reverse Flash could do whatever and stab him in the foot with a batarang, I still call BS, right? But it happened, right? So what us seeing these type of abilities or feats from normal street level characters against these speedsters, then again, it can still potentially happen to characters that exist in multiple spaces like this. So we'll dive a little bit more into that in a second. We'll dive a little bit more into that in a second. But however, this agility, honestly, taking that caveat out of the question or putting that aside, again, I don't see anything Bravin's going to be able to do in order to negate or counteract rather this level of agility. But we still have 2 more to go through really quick. Energy projection. So he has a 0 on energy projection in regards to Braven. He's sitting at a 5, right? So maybe there's an edge, right? Maybe there's something he can utilize as it relates to energy projection that could give him the leg up. A 0 versus 5 can go a long way. Now, here's the thing that puts us right back into a not so good position with Braven. Braven's sitting at an 5 in regards to his fighting ability, which, as a reminder, it makes him a master of single form combat. Meanwhile, Khalid's sitting at an 8. In case you guys don't know, you happen to not be looking at the forum right now on indiebreakdown.com. You're missing out. Definitely head over to the Nexus. You can check out these characters there. But before you see the characters, you also see the power sets of the tier stats. If you're looking at it, you'll see that this character right here has unlimited knowledge of combat. I'm yo, unlimited knowledge of combat versus a master of single form combat, and a character that is so fast that he can exist in multiple places at once and move when time is frozen. I'm sorry. And then the durability is insane as well, right? Again, virtually indestructible. You have somebody that's virtually indestructible, who's omniscient, who exists in multiple places at once. About 40 comments in the Facebook post. We're going to take a look at those, cross reference with the card really quick, and then we're going to pick up. So, first comment, Nathan said, can he, or asks, can he be knocked out? Can the sword? Um, he won't be out for long because of the effects. Invulnerable or invisible. If he is completely immune, that doesn't stop anything for real. And no, he can't be all of them. Next up, Dre continues and says, but his main tier is street-like. He deals with the Captain America, Batman-like characters, but his sword is actually capable of hurting Pantheon. And I need to remind y'all about who Pantheon is. It's another character from Dre Burke on comments. Let's take a look. Let's take a look really quick at Pantheon. So I'm gonna open a new tab really quick and pull my boy up, and then we're gonna look at what he could do. And again, if you're talking about a character as strong as Pantheon, being able to get hurt by this stuff, again, the fact that Khallid can keep up with a character like Pantheon, for one, is insane. Let's go ahead and go through our little reminder, shall we? So, Pantheon, I need y'all to look at these stats. I need y'all to look at these stats. Okay. 8, strength, can lift multi megatons. 6, genius. 8, speed, possessing limitless speed. Durability, 8, cannot be physically harmed, right? 7 for agility, he's relativistic. 8 for energy projection, absolute control of all energy in the multiverse. And then 7, fighting ability, master of all forms of combat. And in the comments,
What? What?
and in the comments, hello? All right. And in the comments, that was very weird. He just said, and I just read it to you guys, that these could hurt Pantheon. The sword able or capable of hurting Pantheon. And again, you're talking about a character again with Pantheon on screen to help solidify this point for you guys. Somebody that's able to manipulate matter, has spiritual manipulation, divine energy projection, astral projection, astral essence. And we did an interview and recording with him as well, and a breakdown. He has passive perception, which that means you could only see the person that you admire the most, unless Pantheon allows you to see him, right? And the fact that we invest in the fact that these two are fighting, which means somehow he bypassed that, right? Then he also has a perception ability that affects him if he does not believe he should be hurt by something, or doesn't believe he's going to be able to get killed by something, anything of that nature, due to the orb where he gets his powers from. If he doesn't think it's going to hurt, it's not going to hurt. And the fact that this character Khallid is able to still hurt him with these blades speaks volumes. So if we just between power scaling and matching these two up, the character that can hurt Pantheon is decimating a character like Braven. But we are not done yet. So again, starting that bit of text over again. All this is verifiable. Go to the Braven versus Khallid post. You can see these comments as well. So if I'm going too fast, please go back through them, reread them, let us know what you think. But to read this text again, his main tier is street like. He deals with Captain America / Batman like characters, which is pretty much where Braven is on the tier of things, if you would. But his sword is actually capable of hurting Pantheon because of its nature, but he is a street tier villain. His machinations are high, but not like world dominant high. I just posted his bio. Okay, cool. So, due to his role as master and leader of the Weapons of Fate, he tends to not get directly involved in most missions or hunts. He leaves it to his students, but he is known to not care about wounds during the battle. The battle is amusing due to his immense healing ability. No wound, no matter how great, no matter physical or mental or supernatural, will stand on his person for long. The sacred blessed blade will protect him even in his dreams. He is not invulnerable, but will recover almost instantaneously depending on the severity of the wound. Okay, even being beheaded won't stop him for long. So, does Braven have anything in his repertoire, if you would, to combat something like that? And again, if we go back through and look at this again, depending on the type of ammo, we still have a good bit of comments to go through, but depending on the type of ammo that's in the SX pistols and the Bark blades, is it enough, right? Is the strike suit giving him enough to make it work? So Nathan does give us, or rather elaborate more on each of the items that he's bringing to the battle. We have the strike suit, aka the bone suit. Boost strength, speed, durability, and agility. Includes the leash AI for nav, combat plans, and diagnostics. Okay, so gives them a little bit extra intel. The SX pistols fires blight bullets, causing intense nerve pain. But again, if you've got somebody that can exist in multiple places at once, their agility is ridiculous. They're dodging bullets. Bark blades, wrist blades with purge toxin for paralyzing foes. Can he hit him? Is the key. Snip trackers, tags with EMP pulses and electric shocks to disable tech and enemies. Here's the tough part. Again, when you have these characters with instant regeneration, yes, they can still feel pain. I feel like he'd be able to shrug this off though. If he even gets hit in the first place. And then the Hound Cruiser is a tech bite with side cannons and sniff sense distributor. Now, Nathan does dive into the martial art 52 blocks, street-born defensive style with counters, blocks, and brutal strikes. Okay, so fire, bet. Dre responded with the information from his card, or rather, he posted the card proper front and back. No need to reread that information. We've already delved into what was on the card already, but he does dive into a little bit more of the gentleman specifically here. Um, which we talked about, but again, it's a little extra intel here. So, the undefeated commander and father to the weapons of fate, Khallid bin al-Walid, the sword of Allah. Upon his deathbed, after being told he was never to die in or on the battlefield, he was gifted a magical sword and in time returned to full health and superior peak human levels. After realizing he could not be killed, he founded the Weapons of Fate Guild, whose mission was to train the century's next great commanders and shape the course of human civilization. Give me a second because I don't know if you guys are commenting at all. I don't see any of that because I am on. I think the posts are coming directly to if you're on the Midnight Comics joint. I don't have I don't have it pulled up on any breakdown. So forgive me here if you guys have been commenting or saying anything. Um I have not seen it at all. And then we'll pick back up on the text that we have here in a moment. Hey. Oh man. Okay. 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 So no. No. Oh. Okay. All right. So nothing at the moment. That's good. I didn't miss anything. All right. So let me pull this back up. So after realizing the weapons of the Fate Guild, whose mission was to train the century's next great commanders and shape the course of human civilization, fought of the three boys Shadow Wolf, Blood Edge, and Iron Sights. Here we get a little bit more of the fighting styles that he knows. We know he's a master gymnast, an acrobat, weapons master, master swordsman, known to have mastered every martial art, even those lost to time, including kung fu, judo, jiu-jitsu, Wing Chun, capoeira, sabat, karate, aikido, kabuto, taekwondo, and eskrima. He's a skilled military commander. There's a lot to this guy, and I'm rushing a little bit because it's almost time for me to roll out here. I'm going to switch. Hey, princess. Let me switch over to my hotspot. Hey, princess. As I'm still recording here. If we get interrupted, let's just nip it in the bud. I could talk circles around this. I could talk circles around this. However, when we get down to the nitty-gritty, the unfortunate truth is, the unfortunate truth is this character here doesn't stand a chance. Braven, I'm sorry, you look cool, but this Khallid character is immensely powerful. And if he's able, through the blades, able to hurt a character like Pantheon, it's absolute crap. So, unfortunately for Braven, and so this. So, thank y'all for tuning in again. Rather short matchups today. So we hope you enjoyed all that.
I usually have more.
No, it's in my other bag. Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to tune in next week. We have some other matches for you guys. But with all that being said, again, thank you for joining us. And remember, until next time. Well, no, not even remember until next time. Thank you guys for joining us as we redefine power scaling in the world.
Bitch, I'm proud.